Good morning. My name is Professor Miller, and I will be your instructor for the Computers and Business course this semester, Business 20101. I am very fortunate. I am sitting here in Crete, Greece, and just finishing up the last of my vacation before I have the honor to work with each and every one of you this semester. So I thought you might enjoy a really quick view of my morning view for breakfast. It's absolutely beautiful here. Highly recommend, if you ever get the opportunity to travel, to come and visit Greece and the beautiful island of Crete. So this semester we are going to be working in a very fast-paced environment, and it's going to be very important that you guys organize your time very well. There's a couple of really important requirements that you're going to need for this course that sometimes students don't realize or read when they sign up for the course. So I want to make sure that you know right away. You will be required to use a PC with a Windows operating system. So for those of you that are Mac users, you will not be able to use your Mac for this course. If you do not have access to a regular PC with Windows operating system on it, you will not be able to complete the course, and you'll need to withdraw from the course as soon as possible. I think, and you'll have to check on this because I don't have the exact dates, but I think you only have 2 or 3 days from the beginning of the class to withdraw from the class should you decide that that's what you need to do. Of course, I hope that each and every one of you are able to stay with us and work through the course with us, but I did want to give you that warning so that if you need to withdraw from the course, you certainly can. So the first 2 weeks of the course, we're going to be working with Microsoft Access. And one of the things I want you to really recognize about Microsoft Access is that even though Access is the program that we're using, the real thing that you're learning here is how databases work. Different components, like for example, you're going to see we have to use primary keys, and though wherever you decide to work in the future, you may or may not be working with Access specifically. Databases in general have the same concepts, the same workarounds. And so that's what you're really learning in this course. Now, of course, we're using Access, so you're going to have to learn how to actually do everything in Access. But when you get to whatever job you have and whatever databases they're working with, you're going to have a much broader understanding of how the database in general works, how to create reports, the fact that you can create forms, that you need to be able to form relationships. These are all things that it doesn't matter what database you're using, they all have those same basic concepts. And so we're using Access as a program to be able to teach you these concepts. There are many, many database programs out there, and we certainly can't teach you all of them. And so we're choosing to use one that is easily accessible to all of our students. And this is really important for you guys to understand going into the Access module. Personally, I found that I absolutely love Access. Not necessarily because it's Access specifically, but because I had such a much better understanding of databases when I originally took the class many years ago, right? And so now, since I learned Access when I did and the way that I did, I've been able to go into different jobs throughout the years and have been able to very easily jump into the role because I understood what was happening with that database. When something wasn't giving me the data that I needed, I knew that there was a way that I could go in and change the report, or I could change the form so that it offered the things that I needed. And had I not had the Access class, I wouldn't have even known that those were possibilities. I would have just assumed that they were programming stop points, right? So the programming just didn't offer more. But in Access and database software, you can manipulate a lot, and you're going to see that in the next 2 weeks. So Access is super fast. We're going to go through 6 chapters in 2 weeks. So the first week you've got chapters 1, 2, and 3, and you'll see on the syllabus I've divided it out. So you do one chapter in a couple of days, the next chapter a couple of days, the next chapter a couple of days. But that means that you only have about 2 days per chapter, and that's going to be consistent throughout this course over the next 6 weeks. So make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to get all of the work done. The graders especially, those are going to take you some time. Oftentimes those will take students about 2 hours to complete, so make sure that you give yourself enough time to do those. When you do the simulated trainings, super important that you use the tools that are provided. There's, what are they called? Training aids or teaching aids, I think is what they're called. But there's some that are videos, there's some that are simulations, like it'll show you exactly what to do. Then there's some where you can actually read about it. And you can use all three of those in order to figure out how to do whatever the step is that it's telling you to do. Make sure you're not just watching the video and just doing what it said to do. Make sure you're learning how to do it so that when you go to do those graders, which is where you do it on your own, you're not lost, okay? Another quick tip, if you do your grader and your simulated training at the same time, a lot of times it's a lot easier because that simulated training typically goes pretty close to in order as your grader, and so you can try it on the simulated training and then do that portion on your grader. Try it on the simulated training, then do that portion on your grader, and it's going to make it a little bit easier to be able to follow along and make sure you're getting all your steps done correctly. You will find, especially if you're familiar when we get to Excel, if you're familiar with Excel and you know that there's different methods to do things, you have to remember that in this course, we're grading on how well you can do the step in the method that you've been taught to do it. So between the book reading, between the simulated training, and the grader, those all have to match up. So if it says that you need to click on, right, whatever button on the toolbar, you have to do it that way. You can't just right click and use your mouse. All right, so there's lots of different methods in Excel, but you have to do it the way that it's teaching you in order to get the points for it. So keep that in mind. You're gonna find that on the simulated training, it's only gonna let you do it the one way. And even if you know it could have happened the other way, it doesn't matter. You have to do it the way that it's being taught so that the simulated training will grab it. Same thing with the grader. The grader goes through the system and then it's gonna grade it accordingly, and you wanna make sure you're using whatever the method is that's being taught for that chapter. Okay, so those are just a couple of really quick tips and tricks to help you ease some of the frustration that comes with trying to use some automated software. The nice thing here too, though, is if it is telling you that you need to do it in a method that you don't normally use, that's a good thing because it means that you're learning something, that you're finding out that there are multiple ways to do the same task. And so depending on what screen you're on or depending on what's happening in the moment, it might be a lot easier for you to do the new method versus your old method. All right, so just bear with it, and as you have questions, we do have a teaching assistant in this class, which is great. Sasank is fantastic. He can answer pretty much any question if I'm not available. And then we'll also have the availability for you guys to have one-on-one sessions either with me or Sasank if you're really struggling and need some help getting past some of that. But remember, we're here to help, not to do the assignment for you. So you do need to put some effort into the assignment before we do some one-on-one tutoring sessions with you, and then we'll help guide you in the right direction, not just tell you the answers. I think you probably already knew that, but I just thought I'd throw it out there just in case. So I'm very excited. We do have a fantastic semester coming. There's a lot of great information that you're going to use in the business world every single day in this class. So the first 2 weeks you have your Access assignments. There is absolutely no availability for Mac on that, so make sure you have access to your PC with Windows operating system. Then you're going to have your final exam on Access before you start Excel, okay? You do have to take the exam or you will not pass the class. In that third week, you'll take your Access final exam, and then you're going to start your Excel content as well. I think chapters 1 and 2 in that same week. Then you go all the way through Excel, and then you'll have your Excel final at the end of that one also. And again, you have to take the Excel final exam in order to pass the class. So no matter what happens, make sure you take those 2 exams, okay? This is more of a at your own pace kind of course. So if you feel like you're doing great and you want to continue on past week 1, you are more than welcome to do that. The only exception is that the final exams you can only take during the exam windows. Okay, so if you want to do all of Access this week and then next week just study for the Access exam, you can. If you want to do all Access this week, all Excel next week, that's fine. And then you still have to take those exams when they're ready. So that means that you would take the Access exam in week 3 and the Excel exam in week 6. okay? But it is at your own pace, so you can go as fast or as on time as you would like. So due dates are posted in the syllabus. Please make sure you read through the syllabus very well. That way you have a full understanding of what's expected and when things are due. And then I will, of course, be posting videos on a pretty regular basis to help you with any big points of contention where people really struggle, and give you some videos that you can watch that are going to help guide you in the right direction. As you have questions, please, by all means, feel free to email me or Sasank, our teaching assistant, and we are more than happy to help you at any step of the way. All right? Thanks, guys. I really look forward to working with you this semester, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.